Hi, welcome back to episode 4 on this channel, Heal and Thrive. Today I want to talk a little bit about some of the foods that I used to heal my body as I experienced lupus. I wasn't always very disciplined when it comes to eating. In fact, I wasn't someone who even liked food. I oftentimes would miss my meals, and when you get that hungry, you just grab something that's available, and that has proven to be very, very bad for me, because during those times, it's easy for me to go KFC and grab 2 pieces of chicken and some fries and a soda. That was one of the easiest things for me. But over time, as I got my diagnosis, I remember feeling so hopeless. I remember feeling very depressed. I remember thinking that there was not going to be any hope or any future for me. And all I could think about were the sores that I started having in my scalp, the joint pains I was having. I was having a hard time getting out of bed in the mornings. When I get up off the bed, I have to stand on the ground for a while, trying to get my balance before I could actually move around. Sometimes it would take me 15-20 minutes to really get my bearing, that I could get up and go to the bathroom. Sometimes I would just tip and wobble across to the bathroom, and when I'm done, I was sitting on the toilet seat for long periods of time, not doing anything, but wanting to get up, and all the joint pains. I was really, really inflamed. The other thing I experienced that was so significant was the fatigue. I was very fatigued. I was overwhelmed. I was getting hot very easily. I just feel like there was so many pain radiating down my shoulders and all these parts of me. I always feel like I was carrying 2 heavy bags and trying to balance. And it was really, really, really a very difficult time. And I just knew I had to do something. I wasn't ready to give up life yet, and I remember when I cried out to God and I said, God, you're gonna have to give me some natural ways of healing myself. I do not have the money for the specialist rheumatologist. I do not have the money to buy medication. Here I am in this new country. I don't know how to navigate this whole illness and getting treatment and resources. And so because of this, I was kind of pushed in a space where I had to make something happen for myself. And so that is how I started looking at food and studying about foods and the different nutrients. And like, one of the challenges I used to have is that I was someone who hated water. My entire family hated water. We don't drink water much. And then I started learning that when you eat your food and all of that, your water is so important. It hydrates the body, but then water is what takes the nutrients from one part of the body to take it to where it is more beneficial to us. And when I started learning about water, it became my best friend. And when I taste the water, I would make up my face, and it's just hard to swallow. But now I have recognized in my heart, it's really a mindset. So I resonate in my mind that, listen, water is important for my healing. So no matter what I eat, if I don't have water to hydrate my body and to take my food along to where it really supposed to go to benefit me, I was not going to do well. And then I've heard a lot about sugar, the regular sugar, and I'm like, I usually like to have sweet drinks, sweet teas, and I started saying, okay, let me try eliminate sugar. And so I started using less sugar. Eventually, I gradually moved from 2 spoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of sugar, to just put in 1 spoon and just to put a little tip on the point to give it a little flavor, and then eventually no sugar. So right now I do not have sugar. I do not take sugar in my teas. I do not have juices. I don't drink juices. All I have is my smoothies which is very, very important. Vegetables, natural foods, greens, they are very, very helpful. So let me take it a little back. So I learned about water first because water is important, and I hated water. My family, most of us do not have water. And I think a part of the reason why I also started drinking more water is that I started having menopausal symptoms, hot flashes, and it was really, really uncomfortable. So I had to be drinking the water to kind of give my body a little regulation, you know, hot, cold. I tried to create a little balance in that. And then the other thing that I learned to do is to eliminate fried foods. Like everything I prepare, everything that's prepared in my house is usually fried. And so I started learning a new way of eliminating fried foods and start stripping off all the skin from the chicken and stuff. I mean, I am not a vegetarian. I've been eating chicken still, but in those earlier days, I would have less of it. So I would do more, I would have my kids doing baked chicken and stuff for me. But most of the time I would have my stir-fried vegetables, and that was a very, very important part for me. I changed my oil. I don't use the regular cooking oil anymore. I started using avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil. And so if I'm going to fry something, I'm going to use that healthy fat. The olive oil or the avocado oil, those are good healthy fats. So that's one of the other things that I changed. The other things that I started utilizing more vegetables. I am from Jamaica, and how Jamaicans are, we'll plant our vegetables, but most of it goes to the market. So if you do buy vegetables, it spreads so thin that you really don't get a real feel of it. So I started having more vegetables. I would have cabbage as a steamed vegetable, but then I'd also have my raw vegetables. Sometimes I'm going to work, I just take a vegetable salad with me instead of all of that meaty stuff. So that was one of the other things that I did. So vegetables became my friend. And so at the time I was working with this Jewish lady who I noticed that she was very healthy. She was 80 something years old, and she was very, very, very healthy. And she had no real health condition. She was just aging gracefully and beautifully. And I noticed that every morning her breakfast was the same. She was having oatmeal, and in that oatmeal she would have berries, blueberry, blackberry, raspberries put in that, and it's with almond milk that she would they would use to make her breakfast. Put it in the microwave for a few minutes, and that is what is served for breakfast. And she would have that breakfast 6 days for the week. One day, on a Thursday, she would have 2 fried eggs with pancakes or waffles. But that was the only variation in her breakfast. And so as I went there, you know, I started bringing my own, and then while I was making her breakfast, I was also making my breakfast, and I started having that as a regular breakfast. So I was having a lot of berries, and as I consumed these natural green vegetables, I was blending my smoothie. Anything green I got, I blended and made a smoothie. I started even using the berries to make smoothies. So I will talk a little more in another video about the smoothies and some of the recipes that I have put together that has helped me. But these are just a few of the changes that I made. I stopped having sugar. I changed my oil. I stopped frying foods. And I do more baking, boiled soups. I love soup. And so I would use avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil. I started consuming more water. I started using all the green stuff, blending and eating more vegetables and stuff. So these were just some of the changes I made, and I have more berries. And I tell you, in rapid time, I was feeling better. All the inflammation in my joints were gone, and I started having more energy. I could go out, and I wasn't feeling sick anymore. I started feeling so much better. And the moment I realized that I was doing better, I started doubling up on everything that I was doing. Another important thing that I started doing was an exercise routine, because I wasn't an exercise person. But then I started doing my exercise. It wasn't really anything heavy. It was just being, you know, in the mornings I would get up, I would do my stretches by my bedside, I would do some walk on the spots, I would walk around the house, I'd walk up the stairs and be back. So I had my half an hour worth of exercise every morning. So that was a very, very important part. So these were just some of the things that I did, but it's a combination of other stuff. So in my next video, I'll talk about some of the other stuff that I did. I just wanted to stop by for a moment and to give you this. For those persons who are having autoimmune condition and you're struggling and you're suffering and your inflammation is getting worse and worse every day. If you have any questions that you want to ask, I ask you now to subscribe to the channel and continue to get these updates as to how I managed my lupus symptoms, and I'm doing better now. I would say that I am healed, because for almost 2 years now, I've been going to my rheumatologist. They're just doing my blood test. I'm not taking any pills, just my regular vitamins and stuff. So that's pretty much what it is. So subscribe to this channel and I'll continue to give you updates as how I managed myself and how I'm doing today. Continue to come back to this channel and we'll talk another time. Bye.